Yeah, confident he'll be ready to go. But as you guys know, medical decisions are out of my league. But we're confident he'll be ready to go.
James, can you discuss Nick's development as a receiver this year, and how has that maybe helped him when he hasn't been quite 100%, still making an impact out there on the field?
Yeah, I think it's been important for us to get Nick involved in the passing game in maybe the non-traditional running back routes and other ways that makes it more difficult to defend. Allows him, I think it's going to help him long term in his career as well. Just the more things he's able to do and the more comfortable he is doing them. His ball skills have gotten dramatically better from his freshman year, and we got to continue to do that. But obviously, being out here at practice full time, those things are all important, and how big of a part in the game plan he has on those things.
James, Dom's been getting back in the swing of things, it seems, getting more snaps. Where is he in terms of, is he back to kind of where he was early in the season, or do you still view him as in between with that injury? Dom DeLuca. His snap counts have really gone up of late. They had dipped for about a month there since he got back from injury.
So this isn't a big secret, but he had a cast on his hand early on where I think he only had maybe his thumb exposed, and it's hard to be the type of special teams player he is with not having a hand, and then obviously defensively you're not able to wrap with that hand. So as that hand healed and he got more fingers available to him and got more comfortable, then he has more confidence, and we have more confidence in him being able to do the things he did before the injury. So he's back to full go now, and that's why you see his rep count increasing. Very, very valuable guy for us, extremely smart, could probably play all three of the linebacker positions, could easily be a four-unit starter for us on special teams, which is what he's been up to this point of his career. But with the value that he provides at linebacker and a little bit of the lack of depth that we're trying to create there, we started to limit some of his role on special teams because of that.
James, you endorsed Tyler for the Paul Hourning Award after the Washington game. That's an award that Saquon won in 2017. Obviously, those two are different in a lot of ways as players, but what are some similarities that they share that made him a worthy recipient in 2017 and made Tyler worthy now?
I think the number one thing is they're both selfless, great teammates. Tyler Warren, is like a case study in terms of media training for our freshmen. I mean, every time you guys interview him and you ask him questions about these awards and these records, he finds a way to redirect the question constantly back to his teammates or the program. And Saquon was the same way, just great teammates, which to me is the best compliment that you can get. And then obviously when they have opportunities to impact the game, both of them have done that on a very, very significant level. So, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of him, his family. He's been that way from the very beginning. And I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys or not. I may have, and if I did, I apologize for repeating myself. But we do these team shares. And he got up and did a share a few weeks ago, and I thought it was really valuable because one of the things he got up and said as a true freshman, he didn't know if he'd ever play here. And for our freshmen and some sophomores to be sitting in that room and they're questioning the same thing, and you're hearing Tyler Warren say that, you're like, wow, you'd never think Tyler Warren felt that way based on how he is playing right now. So I just think it's a really good example, as everybody's journey is different, everybody's race is different, they all develop at different kind of stages and speeds. But he's been phenomenal, and right now obviously he's playing. To me, it's not even a question that he's the best tight end in college football. You can make the argument he's one of the most impactful football players in all of college football.
James, you talked at length about the job Terry's done with your young quarterbacks this year, but at the running back spot, JaJuan has worked through a couple of injuries to Cam and Nick, and also trying to, seesaw those two freshmen. So what do you think he's done behind the scenes? How has he handled that so far?
Yeah, really good, and those guys have as well. I think we spend a lot of time on educating our guys about, like, there's two different philosophies, right? You could just play them all, burn their red shirts, and there's value in that because next year they're more ready to go, or they end up earning significant roles. But there's also the guys that at the end of the year, they look back and regret it and feel like they would have preferred the red shirt because they ended up only playing 6 plays in this game, or 12 plays in this game, or 4 plays in the next game, especially if guys stay healthy at their positions, and those things are hard to predict. So I think we do a good job of explaining all this to the guys on the front end, so I think they understand that. We meet with them at least once a week. And Quentin was a guy that we felt like was going to have a chance. I had a bunch of heated discussions on the offensive side of the ball about should we play him or not, right? And if you play him early and then you have an injury, then it makes sense. But if you stay healthy, then you're into the same issue, the same problem. And what was great is Quentin kind of being ready early on gave Corey some time to get ready. So then when Quentin got banged up, then we were able to go with Corey, and now Corey's at a much different point right now than he was during training camp. So you guys saw he got in the game and did some really good things last week, and we need that because we got to feel like we always have 3 backs available, and that could be challenging, especially in a possible 17-game season.
James, what are the things you want your team to improve on in the final 3 weeks here? Where are the things that you feel like there's still room for development before whatever happens after?
Yeah, I think the first thing is 4 quarters, being able to really put 4 quarters. We started out early in the year playing really good in the second half. Last week we played as good of a first half as I think we've played. We got to put it together for 4 quarters and be able to have a kind of a killer mindset, like, keep your foot on the pedal for 4 quarters. I think the other thing is the passing game. We got to be able to consistently throw the ball and make plays and get open no matter who we play. And I would say also the consistency in the running game as well. Defensively, I would say making sure that we're not doing anything, and I think we did this last week, that we're not doing anything to make it easier on the offense in terms of giving them a free 5 yards, jumping off sides, something after the whistle, things like that, because when we don't, we make it very difficult on people, in terms of earning yardage and earning first downs down the field. And then I think the other area which we showed a flash of last week is special teams. Whether it's a block kick or whether it's a return kick for a touchdown or punt for a touchdown, that's something that I think could really help us. And I think we've played really good on special teams from the standpoint, knock on wood, we haven't had any big plays against us or plays that have really hurt us on special teams. That's great. That's the starting point. Now can we make the plays that we need to make that can create an advantage for us? So they're probably the areas that stand out to me the most.
James, 2 more guys. There's been a lot of talk about Tony Rojas since he got to campus. How would you evaluate his performance thus far in a starting role, and what would you like to see him close out his second year on campus?
Yeah, I think good. I think, there's been high expectations for him since he got here, played really well as a freshman, but I think it's a good example, right? There's a difference between coming in as the backup and being the starter and having to do it play in and play out, and the discipline and the toughness that takes mentally and physically to do that. And it's been a transition for him. And he's really doing some good things, but the exciting thing for him and for us is I think there's a lot left in the tank for him. But I think there was a significant jump from him from being a rotate-in guy to a starter, and then not only that, doing it mainly in the open field and now doing it more in the box. That's different. No different than I think with Abdul. Goes from being a space player or an off-the-ball defender to a defensive end. And I think he's getting more and more comfortable and more confident each week. And I think you're going to see the same thing with Tony.
James, how would you assess the play calling from Andy and Tom to this point in the season?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, if you look at our numbers, are pretty good, kind of across the board. There are some areas that we can improve, and we study those things, strengths and weaknesses all the time, and try to tweak some things to help. But obviously, like we have talked about a lot, we've done that fairly consistently. We're judged on games, on specific games and specific opponents. So overall, very good. We got to be at our best. That's myself and everybody included. When it means the most.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.